Hey! No.
It was fine. I just couldn't. You just made eye contact with me at that moment. I was just...
It felt a bit dramatic, actually.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you.
Welcome to Overthunk,
It's better late than never, but here we are.
and these are our top 10
Favorite albums.
of 2018.
What a year it's been. For me, not for music. Maybe because I didn't listen to enough of it. Maybe because it hasn't been that good. I'd like to think that my opinion is what matters and that it's right and you should all listen to it, but that's probably wrong and you'll form your own opinions. So without further ado, I'll jump straight into it. In at number 10, Loma by Loma, the 2018, obviously, self-titled album by the band Loma. Kind of really cool alternative project. Sounded to me like Daughter meets some kind of industrial production. Really enjoyed it. At first I thought it was a very pedestrian listen, but kind of grew on me throughout the year, and I've still been playing it up until last week, so not the most breathtaking album, but something that really stuck with me enough to sneak into my top 10 in the final spot. At number 9, I have Milo. Budding ornithologists are tired of weary analogies. For me, if Milo releases a project, there's quite a large chance it's going to be in my top 10. But the only reason it's down at number 9 is even though I got everything I expected from a Milo album, which was stellar lyrics, very interesting philosophical musings, and some really cool kind of, I want to say skits, but nice interludes between tracks. I didn't find the production as engaging and bouncy as it has been before. Not that that's important necessarily for a rap album, but I feel like it helps kind of move or convey Milo's message a little bit more. That being said, it's a Milo album and I loved it and it got me thinking, so it got my number 9 spot. Make bigger eyes when I put Milo at number 9 next time, why don't you? Looking like an anime character in the back there. At number 8, I have Saba's debut full-length album, Care For Me. This is such a great album, considering that it's his first. Really, really good production, some stellar delivery and lyricism that I really wasn't expecting, given his kind of singles and features, which is where I, started actually hearing from him. But having said that, his kind of reflections on youth and upbringing and nature versus nurture, along with, just some really cool flows and amazing beats, had me coming back to this album, and yeah, I really like it and I'll probably keep listening to it deep into 2019. At number 7, I have Marauder by Interpol. Very interesting album, obviously quite a long-standing band, Interpol. I've never been a fan, I wouldn't say. I've kind of had them on my radar, but I kind of listened to them in passing. But I think I would call myself an Interpol fan now. Just a really solid rock album. Just instrumentation super tight on all levels. I really like the kind of lackadaisical delivery of the lead vocals. They still kind of had an edge to them, and it was quite rhythmic. It really gave me a nice bounce while simultaneously having that kind of edge that you want in a rock album, and that was a nice mix for me. So I definitely think this one just kind of edged over those first 3. At number 6, I have The Internet's Hive Mind. Great album from The Internet. I've been a massive fan of The Internet since they kind of came out of Odd Future. And I think the best thing that ever happened to The Internet was them kind of going off and doing their own solo projects, because everyone kind of came back with new skills added into their repertoire, going up new levels. I loved Steve Lacy contributing more vocals to the album, and even more production, kind of not being solely driven from Matt Martians and Sid, giving that now like Steve and Patrick are contributing a lot more to the songwriting process. It definitely gave the album a bit more flavor, not so much of a straight R&B sound, which kind of was their MO before. This really felt like a meeting of great musical minds. I wouldn't say it's a perfect album by any stretch of the imagination. There are a couple of tracks that do drag. However, the 80% of the album that is good is very good, and I'll definitely keep throwing those into a couple of my mixes going forward. At number 5, I have Room 25 by No Name. No Name has really impressed me over the last couple of years since she kind of made her way onto my radar through Chance the Rapper. And this album is no different. I mean, everything that I would have before would have maybe said was kind of a negative for No Name, she fixed in my opinion. It's a great album, some very interesting production on it. I mean, I touched on it on my full review, but from like neo soul to kind of tropical, calypso, classic hip hop, a lot of jazz on there, and all of that is kind of wrapped in No Name's classic lyrics that are, you know, coming from her spoken word, her poetry background. They'll definitely make you think, but now with this music that's really so strong attached to it, it really goes up into legendary status, and I'm really excited to see what she does in the future, but this album is great. At number 4, I have the only rap album that, in my opinion, was better than Room 25, and that is Some Rap Songs by Earl Sweatshirt. I'm a massive Earl Sweatshirt fan, I always have been. In my opinion, he, while not on the surface level as impressive as, you know, some of your wordier rappers like Kendrick Lamar or Joyner Lucas, he does use words as a part of his music, with the lyrics, the rhyme structure, and the beats all coming together to really make something great. Best MC since MF Doom for me, and this album is no different. It does some really interesting things with production, using a lot more noise and kind of tonal dissonance, but it really does feel like a part of the song. It's not random or kind of produced in a way that feels forced. So I do think it is the best rap album of the year, and yeah, go Earl Sweatshirt. At number 3, I have Blood Orange Negro Swan. But yeah, Negro Swan. It's super high up on my list and way further up than I would have thought when I first listened to it. But this album gave me such an emotional response when I listened to it. It's really great musically, which you can expect from Blood Orange, I guess, but just the way that the album approaches what it's saying with the music and the lyrics, even when I didn't fully agree with the message, I felt what I think was trying to be brought across by those songs, and I couldn't stop feeling and thinking about the feeling. And for me, that's the most important part of music. So as much as it's not as kind of intricate or flashy or orchestral as some of the other albums on my list, it gave me that deep feeling, and it deserves that number 3 spot for me. At number 2, I have Beach House 7. I couldn't tell if that was negative or positive.
No, it's just a surprise.
It's just a surprise? Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Beach House 7, they've been going for a long time. They've got a lot of great albums, a very stacked discography, a much beloved and spoken about band. I don't know if I would say that 7 is their best album. I don't even know if I would say it's my favorite album of theirs. They're the kind of band that their albums kind of move and switch around depending on how I feel, and that is again saying that this album made me feel a lot. I think they hit a lot of different notes, a lot of different sounds than what I was expecting from this album, but I don't think any of those were hit or miss for me. They all felt like home runs. From beginning to end, it kept me super engaged. I really enjoyed it. It got me through winter. It was a great winter album, and it's also again going to be one of those Beach House albums that I'm going to be playing, you know, years from now, possibly even for my Spawn if I have them. And my number 1 favorite album for 2018 is of course, Isolation by Kali Uchis. It is probably the first album that came out in 2018 on this list. It is the best album objectively. I'll go out on a limb and say that. It is so damn near perfect. There is only one thing that I don't like about it, and that's the order of the songs. I wish it would have finished on the one song just because I feel like it's a good closer. Other than that, I have nothing negative to say about it. It's her debut album, which is crazy. She had so many different styles. She gets her concepts across really well, and with the kind of subtlety that I wouldn't have expected from someone who's as inexperienced as she is. But maybe she's not as inexperienced as I think she is, because she couldn't have put out something this great if she was. I think it's an album that everyone should listen to. I think that it doesn't matter what you're into, you'll like it, and it doesn't matter if you like her, you'll like the songs. And I think that universal playability and appreciation that anyone can have for this album kind of transcends kind of top 10s and puts it in one of my favorite albums of all time list. And for that very reason, of course, she takes my number one spot.
How are you, sir? 2018. Not the greatest year, I want to say, musically, for me, personally. I don't think I got around to listening to as many albums as I wanted to. But yeah, some really good standouts, some very high highs. And yeah, let's just get into it. So at number 10, I have got the 1975, A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships.
Oh shit, okay.
But yeah, this latest 1975 album. Wasn't a big fan of theirs up until now. But I just think that the strength of what this album gets right is it's just so good that I couldn't leave it out. I spent a lot of time listening to the tracks on this album that I do like, and the reason this is so low is because of the inconsistency. There are some major missteps on this album, I will admit that. Like the subject matter on this thing, it ranges from personal topics like your drug addiction, you know, your bigger sort of snapshot at life in 2018 as a whole, on tracks like Love It, If We Made It. You know, it just there's a wide range of things on this album, and the hooks are so infectious. Like they're just earworm after earworm in terms of the choruses. But yeah, I surprised myself at how much I like this album. So that's my number 10. And at number 9 for me is Tierra Whack World. In a, you know, the sort of trend in 2018 of making really tight, concise albums. The runtime of this thing is like 15 minutes. 15 1-minute songs, which I think is great because it's so lean, and everything presents a new idea, a new sound. Like barely, I don't think there's a misstep on this album for me. The only thing with such a short album is that you want more from each track, but the flip side of that is that everything's endlessly replayable. Yeah, really like this, and I'm excited to see what she does next. So in at number 8 is Mac Miller Swimming. This is probably the first Mac, I know I'm going to get so much stick for this, but this is probably the first Mac Miller album that I really, really like. That's not to say I don't like the others, but this is the first time he's truly, truly won me over. It's unfortunate that, you know, the circumstances of it all, him releasing such a personal album right before his passing. I think that's quite a tragedy, but it doesn't take away from listening to the album for me. You know, like I'd expect it to be hard to revisit the album because of what happened after, but it's still such a great album full of a variety of different sounds. And yeah, and this album also features probably one of my favorite singles of the year, In Self Care. Yeah, really, really enjoyed this album. It is unfortunate that this would be the last project we do get from Mac Miller, but a really great one to end off his career. In at number 7, probably one of my favorite bands out there, and if you can call it a band, it's one guy making all the music, and that's Unknown Model Orchestra, Sex and Food. This album grew on me. Don't know if I liked it as much when we did the review earlier in 2018, but it really did grow on me. Again, a variety of subject matter on this album. Some great grooves. I mean, tell me you aren't going to be playing or you didn't play Honeybee throughout your summer. And yeah, just some really politically charged anthems on there as well. Maybe don't like this one as much as I did Multi-Love. Multi-Love. Almost blanked, got it, picked it up in the end, won it. But yeah, it's still a really great album, and I'm looking forward to what Ruben does next. And at number 6 is Mitski, Be the Cowboy. And that really is in here for the strength of the songwriting, which I think is stellar. Add to that angelic voice that she has, it's brilliant. Really good follow-up, possibly even topped Puberty, which was released in 2016, I think.
I had Puberty earlier than that. I'm sorry.
I should hope so. But yeah, Mitski, Be the Cowboy. A really great follow-up to a previous album, Puberty. Yeah, I think she also channels quite a few different soundscapes on the album as well. There's a decent amount of variety. Also lean, I think at about 30 minutes, which is always a winner in my book. Yet she still covers a lot. And yeah, I think it's a really great album. Yeah, in at number 5 is Beach House 7, which I really like for a different reason than I like all of Beach House's other albums. I like this because they flipped the script a little bit. Not as much as I wanted them to, but they did make a really big attempt at changing their sound. They switched up tempos, they switched up mood, and they brought all the Beach House things you really like. Also really like
Alex Legrand. I think, yeah.
Is that right?
I believe that's how you say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so, yeah.
Also like Alex Legrand's vocal delivery on this album. It's really good. That sort of deeper register that she has is amazing. Yeah, again, it's going to be interesting to see if they can, keep this going in terms of the switch up they did. I don't know what they're going to do in the next album, but I'm excited to see it. In at number 4 is Pusha T, Daytona, with a really lean, almost minimal in terms of production as well, with Kanye West handling the entire. That's the best thing that Kanye West did this year as well. Although that doesn't say much. Kanye West does a lot of nonsense. Pusha T with the great bars that we expect from him. But I don't think he's ever been as focused as he is on this album. Even everything that this album spawned with the beef with Drake, I don't think I filter all of that stuff out, and I just focus on what a great album he gave us in 2018. My number 3 is Earl Sweatshirt, Some Rap Songs, which I was so surprised by. I did not expect that sort of album from him. The production is so weird. It's like this weird unfinished aesthetic that he's got going on. But I think it's so inspired, and I think it's the perfect backdrop for those type of lyrical flows that we're used to from him. And I think just technically speaking, one of the best out there. The way he combines all kinds of different flows, and the way it suits what he's saying as well it's impeccable. And again, like I said with Mac Miller, the first time he's truly won me over as well. And I don't know if that's skewing it in terms of how high I'm putting this album, but yeah, I could listen to this album all day, every day for 2019.
365 spins?
365 spins. And my second favorite album of 2018 is Honey by Robin, which improved drastically the closer I got to the end of the year. I don't know if I loved it the first time I listened to it, but it just, when I revisited it, just kept getting better and better and better. For me, the best pop album I've heard in a very long time. Proof that that genre could you know, there's still room in that genre for some innovation. And yeah, she's channeling all kinds of sounds and atmospheres, and the production is so great. Yeah, definitely my number 2, because I've said that it is my number 2. So it's definitely my number 2. And my favorite album of 2018, which is like a big surprise, is Eminem, whichever album he released in 2018. And my number 1 album for 2018, for real, is none other than Kali Uchis's Isolation, which, for my money, is the best debut album I've ever heard, like without a doubt. It's perfect. I don't have any issues with it at all. So much variety. We've covered this all in our review, but if you want to hear us gush about it, go back to the review. But yeah, I'm so happy that 2018 gave us this album, and for that reason, was worth it alone.
Are you saying 2018 was worth it because Kali Uchis?
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was worth suffering through 2018 for that album alone. Yeah, that's it from me. That's my 10 favorite albums of the year. Yeah, that's my list. Probably more mainstream than my colleagues' list because I'm a basic bitch, so that's cool. But yeah, hopefully you guys find something that you like on either mine or his list.
I said that there weren't that many great albums in 2018, but I can't really be that mad at it because it gave me, like I said, probably something that will be one of my favorite albums of all time. Give these albums a listen, I think. There's something kind of for everyone there. It's definitely the stuff that jumped out to me. I'm planning on listening to a lot more music in 2019. Once again, it did kind of keep me going through 2018, even though there wasn't as much of it as I would have liked. But yeah, keep overthinking about the music that you listen to more of it, and share it with your friends, and share your opinions with them. Unless you don't have friends like me, then put it online.